You got my 2 cents. It's okay if we decide to put it out and put it on the market or whatever.
So we go with a realtor, or you want to just auction it off somewhere?
I can see you standing in the middle of the lot.
I mean, I think the auction would be, right now it's like $10,000, so somebody come in with $11,000 and so, I mean, that gets rid of the property, but, the way at the auction, you put it up for, unless we put a no less than stipulation on there, you know. And,
Well, opening bid of 25,000 because they're selling those lots for 38. I mean, I don't object to that. Mr. Canagano, you
I'm wondering
What's
about
your
the size. Is it a typical sized lot?
typical size.
I got you.
Dirt road.
But no access, right?
yeah,
No.
the dirt road, there's no paved access to it.
The
No water, no
There's no
sewer.
utilities to it, right?
I guess the question would be, you know, how much do we think that Scott's right?
You got a law degree, that's all I'm gonna say.
Because that would be the other side of it, you know.
Yes.
To just let it go, and because if a judge does rule in our favor, then we would stand to gain the entire amount minus the realtor fee. But if we did it this way here, we would probably be eating that 10,000 one way or another.
Yeah, I'm concerned about that, you know.
It's weird that they would, you know, hold the city, you know, our own people, so to speak. But they do what they do, you know.
Well, Tom Warlick's an attorney. He owns Lighthouse Cove. And he collects those dues from everybody. Doesn't he, Linda?
Now he's charging them for dinners. Even though they're having parties for them, they have to pay some.
So Mr. Adams needs a consensus on and direction.
Let's get rid of it, however
Just put it
possible.
To a realtor.
I think, try the realtor. If we don't get any bites, and then we can fall back to having an auction.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, we've always, if they don't come in with enough to,
Yeah.
then we'll, okay, we can say no and then try another route.
Yep.
Realtor.
Realtor. We have some.
Yes.
Brandon King, 155 South Gaines. You guys know I'm a realtor. I'm not looking to sell your property or whatever, but what I don't mind doing as a resident is doing some research and finding out what your options truly are. But I'd have to look at the deed and bill of sale and all that kind of stuff to be able to get that information for you. So you
There was no bill of sale. It was transferred by Volusia County.
Okay.
It was
So, yeah.
collected by Volusia County for back
Back
taxes.
taxes. And then they handed it over to us.
Then they gave it to, thank you so
You didn't want
much.
to deal with Warlick, so they handed it over to us.
Yeah, I mean, I can go ahead and look through everything, and, you know, talk to an attorney too, just to get maybe an arbitration thing.
We're,
I don't mind doing the
I'm sure
information.
Mr. Adams will appreciate your input.
Okay.
absolutely.
Just give him a call with what you find,
Okay.
and then we'll,
I'll get
he
you
can move
afterwards and
forward.
get the information on the line.
Okay. Kelly McGee has entered the house. She's the executive director of the Riverside Conservatory, which is a nonprofit organization based in Edgewater. I know from experience that she is seriously involved in shoreline restoration. She's planted oyster baskets and everything around Seminole Rest. Busy lady. She's a member of Stetson Institute for Water and Environmental Resilience Board. She serves on the Indian River Lagoon Council Management Board and a member of the Florida Bar. With that, if you'd like to address the commission, Ms. McGee? Miss Daniel? Miss Denise? You go first, Deb.
Good evening. Deb Denny's here, former county council member, chair of the Indian River National Estuary Program. And today serving, speaking to you on behalf of the Florida Communities Trust as a trustee and member at the state level. We had a meeting 2 weeks ago in Tallahassee where we reviewed applications for just under $32 million from the Florida Forever Fund from Florida. And what sparked me being here, and you're the first of many, the cities and the county, is that some of the best grants that were up there was not one from Volusia. My colleagues up in St. Johns County had a wonderful grant for just under $5 million for a boat ramp and parks and docks and parks and public places. And it was an excellent, excellent application. And I gave them kudos and supported it very strongly. Then at the same time, my caveat was the only thing that would make this better is if Volusia's name was on it. So we have the ability to connect you and assist you with, and we'll do just that. That's why we're here, with some grants and we think some funding opportunities, because there's money on the table too. That's from Florida Forever, from the parks and public areas. The one grant cycle before that this year, the Stan Mayfield Working Waterfront Grant. One application from the entire state of Florida. There's millions on the table at the state of Florida. So I can literally tell you, I'm the government, we're here to help, we're here to assist you, but working here with Kelly McGee, let me give you these real quickly. You can read these at your leisure, pass them out. It explains exactly what the Florida Communities Trust is, how it works, but the two grants that really we want to focus on here is a Parks and Open Spaces program that provides grant funds to local governments and nonprofit environmental organizations to acquire conservation lands, urban open spaces, parks, and greenways. And then we've got the Stan Mayfield Working Waterfront Program. And there's more to it than that, but going forward, this is a first. This is just an intro meeting, but going forward, we will have more information. And I have a staff member at the state from the DEP and the FCT that has offered to work with us and with you, should you decide to go forward, via Zoom. So don't feel you've got to go to Tallahassee. We have a Rolodex and some folks here ready to assist you. So with that, I'm going to turn you over to the real brains of this. And every time I hear her bio read, it impresses me. So I'm going to let Kelly take over.
Thank you, Deb.
Thank you. Thank you so much for allowing me to be here. Kelly McGee, Executive Director of the Riverside Conservancy in Edgewater. I just wanted to echo what Ms. Denny said. There are several state grants that are open right now. One of them is open through, I believe it's April of this year, the Stan Mayfield Working Waterfront Grant. And this is something that Riverside Conservancy has successfully applied for in the past, but I wanted to let you know that there are local business owners. For example, Mike Sullivan is very interested in possibly acquiring property in Oak Hill in the area and doing shellfish nursery, and perhaps bringing a co-op type business to the area. So I just wanted to make you all aware of that this is statewide and they're getting very few grants for these millions of dollars that are available. Something like the Stan Mayfield Working Waterfronts Grant would require the city, all the towns, wherever the jurisdiction is, to sign off on these grants, basically. But Mr. Mayor, you'll probably be getting a call from Mr. Sullivan to just, he'll share with you his ideas. And also to let you know that there is another grant open, the National Florida Fish and Wildlife Foundation grants are open and, through April. And Riverside Conservancy, we've just been awarded 2 grants, one by the Water Management District and one by the Indian River Lagoon Council, to restore a mile of shoreline this year. And so I'll be reaching out to folks that I know in the area who might want to have their shorelines planted, and we are happy to, as always, get that done for you. Thank you.
Thank you. Just as a update, St. John's Water Management and Echo Forever and the City of Oak Hill have entered into an agreement to buy 70 acres, which is south of Halifax, running south. And these programs that are on here, these grants are going to work out. But St. John's Water Management is doing a dredging project. I have no idea, don't have a whole lot of details on that. But they requested that we not try to do anything, but the city could put in a kayak ramp, boardwalks, bathrooms, you know, with the water and sewer going to be run down through there. So they said that project was going to be 2 years. Like I said, I don't know what they're doing. I don't know how that would affect the conservatory, except for doing stuff with the shoreline. You know, I think it's a great opportunity. That's why the commission voted to go ahead and do it. It only cost the city $27,000 and change to be part of it. And eventually, after St. John's gets finished, it'll just be turned over to the city. They'll monitor what the heck we're doing, of course, but I think this is excellent, and I hope the funds. Deb and I talked about this, and Deb suggested we start now, because if we get things in line, the engineering, the drawings, etc., will be ahead of the game when St. John's finally says, okay, we're done, you can do, you know, and we can turn it over to them. Try to get money from them too. But thank you, Kelly and Deb. I appreciate the info. Did you fill out a?
You fill out a paper.
They're at the desk up there, Jane.
On this issue, I have to go on the paper.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, citizen participation non-agenda item. That's all.
Here you go. Thank you.
Please state your name and your address.
Sure. Jane Andrews, 183 and 199 US Highway 1, also 118 and 120 East Turf Street. I just wanted to find out a couple of things. First of all, on this particular issue, and then I can come back up on another one. I would like to suggest that rather that you guys think about the concept. Let me start off with the fact that on last Saturday I went to DeBerry and had the mayor there show us a tour of 170 acres that they just purchased on the St. Johns River. And they did it via, and maybe you all know about it. You probably know a lot more of the details about how they managed it. But they're going to set it aside as a park, and it's an absolutely gorgeous property. I would like to suggest to you that you consider going to, and I'm going to say Uniton because I don't know what the actual formal name of the corporation that owns the 400 acres across the street over here, but that you go to him and suggest to him that maybe instead of shoving a whole bunch more houses in our city, which is going to make more congestion, and you're going to go, and you guys have determined, and it's really, really good for us to shove more housing into our city. And I want to make a public announcement that I disagree with that determination 100%. And I would rather see you guys see if there's some way you could purchase that 400 acres and set it aside as a park. That 400 acres has a whole lot of old oaks, old pines, it has wildlife in it. It would be an awesome park for this city. It's right close to the water. I think you could justify that you could even be, doing great things for, the wildlife and for nature there. All I think those people want is, to get the money for the property. They've held on to it. I know I've lived here for 24 years. I know that for 24 years they've been trying to do something over there. Just a suggestion, would you guys even consider the thought that maybe that would be a great park? So that is what I'd like to see. And while we're talking about that particular property, I'd also like to know what the tree ordinance is in this city, and have we softened the county's tree ordinance, which says that you're not to take down trees over 6 inches? Because I have a person who attended the Sinners and Saints Cemetery ceremony a month or so ago and noted that all the way down the roads to both of those cemeteries, there's huge trees that are tagged with pink tags. Is there anybody that can explain to me what that means? Does that mean they're taking down all those trees? Are they allowed to? Have they asked you for a permit? These are things I'm curious about. I really would love to see that property set aside as a park. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Jane.
Thank you, Jane.
Okay, Mr. Adams, Volusia Forever Property. I think I pretty well filled that in.
Yes, you did. The only other thing to add to that, they are tentatively have scheduled closing for the 29th. However, the last conversation I had with the county, they had identified an encroachment from the property owner, the adjacent property owner. He has a deck built that's encroaching on our property, so, or potential property. So they were going to be having conversations with that owner to see what they could do to remediate that issue, because they don't want to purchase a problem in the future where there's a dispute as far as where the property line is and use of that piece of property. So as soon as I hear something more, I will let the commission know.
When I read that and I noticed that it was a dock, building permit issue by us?
Not that I know of, no.
It doesn't have, property owner doesn't have much choice but to remove it, but that's not my call at this time. Okay, next.
The Indian Harbor Estate Sewer Project, we have sent out the availability letters. This is just an informational item for the commission, just to let you know that we've sent the letters out. And we have started having some residents come in to apply for permits to get things done.
Carrie Green.
Good.
When did these letters go out, Jerome?
When was the last?
I mean, the copy of the letter that's in here
A
says
week
it's
ago,
dated the
wasn't
It's like
19th.
Thursday, I came
Yeah.
in here, you guys were stuffing all the envelopes, I think it was Tuesday or Wednesday, so.
Yeah, it's been a
Mine's
week.
dated the 16th.
16th was the,
Okay.
so that was a Friday.
So that's
Can
10
you tell
days
me why
ago.
we didn't all get them?
We sent-
Nobody on my side of the road has gotten this letter or any of the information about it, yet we're being compelled to hook up to the system. So we should have gotten a letter of availability. And I talked to 4 of my neighbors. All 4 of them said, nope, haven't seen, haven't heard, don't know nothing. So,
Well, we pulled the addresses from the property appraiser's site.
Well,
to send out,
you
so.
missed a minimum of at least 17 homes on there.
Okay.
Okay, and if we're being forced to hook up to it, then we need to be notified and sent the information, so.
So now that you told me, we'll make sure that you get the information.
Okay, all of us.
Yes.
Okay.
I think the hiccup was you put in the subdivision to get the labels from. Or did you go street by street?
Street by street by street.
Wonder why it didn't the south side of the street? Yeah. Okay. Consent agenda, we don't have anything. Non-agenda item, city attorney, nothing. I'm not aware of anything for the planner or the engineer. Sheriff's deputies, not in the house.
No
I don't
deputy.
see. City administration matters, upcoming workshop.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, Commissioners, I have an upcoming workshop on March the 11th at 4 p.m. with James Moore, just to discuss government financial systems, and to give an overview of what they've been doing, and just bring us up to speed on what they've been doing so far, and to answer any questions that you may have. Like I said, this is on March 11th at 4, just before our regular commission meeting.
You know if they're gonna present a P&L, profit and loss,
I don't know.
at that workshop?
I can find out.
Okay, thank you.
That would be a good suggestion, I think.
Ask them, yeah. You got them coming anyway.
Okay. Old business, interlocal agreement with the county to maintain and operate sewer system.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, this is the interlocal between the city and the county for operation of the Indian Harbor Estate sewer system. This is basically the document for us to sign to say that we're agreeing to them maintaining the system for us. I have Mike Ulrich in the audience. He can provide any other details that you may require, or answer any questions that you may have.
Questions?
Well, yeah, Mike, we got the notification today that we originally were thinking that it was 60,000 annual, and it's 72. Okay, what drove that, or just the cost of business going up every time, you know?
Yeah, very good question, sir. Mike Ulrich, Water Resources Utilities Director for Volusia County. Yeah, the original amount that was in the original memorandum of understanding in 2019 identified an estimated cost at that time of $60,265 per year.
Yeah.
The additional costs, of course, came pre or post-COVID, as we know, and the contractor costs and things like that. We also added some additional monitoring that our staff wanted to include to ensure the safety and operation of the system. Keeping in mind, however, though, while the cost went from $60,000 to $72,000 per year, all of those costs that increases the city's debt is still being paid for entirely by Volusia County for that.
Right.
So, we're again, if I may reflect on a few moments of this, I did want to just congratulate all of you on this planning process that started 8-10 years ago, at least in the period of time that I was here. I think it even has a history going back even longer than that. The ability of the city to leverage the Water Management District's money, coupled with the Department of Environmental Protection, and then with the county covering the remaining city costs, pretty much left no taxpayer dollars within the city to pay for any of the costs of this really vital project in the Indian River Lagoon. So I did want to congratulate all of you on that. Of course, I also want to introduce Alan Ferguson from from my team. He is going to be spending a lot of time down in Indian Harbor Estates assisting not only the plumbers and the citizens to answer any questions that that might come up in the field while he's doing inspections on the connections. He'll be a source for your building official as well. And of course, Alan is tasked with proper maintenance of this entire system that's going in here. So I did want to introduce Alan. We're also be available if there's anybody still from Indian Harbor Estates that's in the audience tonight. Of course, we had quite a crowd a couple of weeks ago. We answered many of the questions there, but we're happy to answer any questions after this meeting for anybody that would like some assistance. But again, we just wanted to congratulate you on this. We look forward to continuing to be a partner with you on many of the other goals that you have, both economic and environmental within this community. As you know, we're expanding the wastewater treatment plant that's over here and going to advanced wastewater treatment off of Beacon Light Road. We're extending the water line at the present time. Plans for future extensions and expansion are also in the works. We're also planning a ground storage tank to increase pumping capabilities for better fire flow and water quality protection in the future. So we have many plans for, to meet the city's future needs. We'll grow as you grow. We won't get ahead of you, but we'll stay consistent with what the overall plans are that your city has had, and really dates back to the outline that you had with your strategic economic plan that you adopted back in 2018. So we're just pretty much trying to go right in line with your future goals. So again, thank you very much for the opportunity to serve you on this.
Mike, I have another question. A month or so ago, we got the draft drawings and notification about you guys laying the water piping and coming down and going over towards the peninsula right there at the curve at
Point of order.
Oh, excuse me.
We're on this.
Oh, okay.
I will be glad to
I'm sorry.
questions afterwards.
We can get to that in a minute.
Okay. My bad. Sorry.
I took you off that anyways. It's not your fault.
Yeah, you just mentioned it. I just triggered. Okay.
Questions on the interlocal agreement?
Okay.
Any?
No.
Oh, I've got another one that there's a statement in here twice, all right, about a monthly sewer availability charge, even if they're not hooked up. How much is that? And that starts after the 2-year period?
Yes, the part of your agreement in acquiring your financing from both DEP as well as the Water Management District is to ensure and to incentivize during the first couple of years, but afterwards, when sewer is made available, you make that announcement. The availability fee will 2 years afterwards, even if somebody is not connected. But of course, we want to encourage the connections with all of the incentives that are being put in place up front. But yeah, by statutory law, the availability fee, and currently that's about $27 per month.
Okay.
Okay, we need a motion if there's no further questions.
I make a motion that we accept the interlocal agreement between Volusia County and Oak Hill for the wastewater service for Indian Harbor Estates.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Do we have any citizens' participation on this?
We do not.
Do not. Call for the vote.
Mayor Gibson,
Yes.
Commissioner Hyatt,
Yes.
Commissioner Catalano,
Yes.
Commissioner McGee.
Yes.
All right, new business. Resolution 2024-08, IHE Physical Sustainability Plan for SRF loan.
Yes, Mayor, Commissioners, this is the Indian Harbor Estates Fiscal Sustainability Plan. It is a plan that projects the maintenance and repair of the assets for the system over a 20-year period. It is a requirement of the DEP for this plan to be produced. So it's here before you for your approval.
Questions?
I make a motion, we accept the resolution 2024-08. This is all part of the procedures and process for getting the sewage system into the Indian Harbor and how we're going to maintain it together with Volusia County.
Right, I'll second.
Further discussion? Any comments or from the citizens? Call for the vote.
Commissioner Hyatt,
Yes.
Commissioner Catalano,
Yes.
Commissioner McGee,
Yes.
Mayor Gibson.
Yes. Commissioner McGee, you had a question for Mike Ulrich.
Yes.
We'll put him back on the spotlight.
Yeah, if you would. Hopefully it's,
He just got.
we got notification about the piping going in and the water system and it's coming around there. And the drawings originally had it just coming around and ending at the bend, just as it came onto the straightaway of East Halifax down at the very east side. But there's a stack of pipes, all right, further down East Halifax now. And is that to cover what's not being there and put down, or is that, is there a
Defer to
plan?
Alan Ferguson.
That's a
for a moment.
directional drill pipe. They have to stretch it out to weld it, so that is part of the current project.
Okay, that's fine. I saw that stack of pipes and I went, are they already coming down further down East Halifax? And if one of the things I've talked to Mr. Adams about is that if you guys have a projection time frame for when you're gonna come the rest of the way or further down East Halifax, there's a bunch of citizens, including myself, that would like to know that so we can prep, because, I mean, I got 900 feet of pipe I got to get hooked up, so I don't want that as a surprise.
We'll give you plenty of notice. You'll see us coming. But the main thing, of course, much like everything, much as you've learned how to leverage many of your things, we'll also leverage new development as it occurs. That entire Halifax area will be required to have to bring water to serve any development that would come south of there into the area, the Unison property. You know, one of the interesting things I heard tonight again, and I heard DeBerry mentioned, which is an area that we serve, that beautiful Alexander Island area that the city has just purchased, happens to also be run right next to where the city has also planned 800 homes that are going in. You know, I mean, there's how you can balance the environment with your city's goals for prosperity and improved. I mean, you still have much to say about how you want to develop and how you want to continue to move, but you know, trying to leverage all of those things, you have to, especially in Florida, is find the best way possible to balance all of the goals, and not just development goals, but not just environmental. Find the right balance that you can for the benefit of your citizens to do all of these types of things. So plenty of good ideas out here, but you know, just that you have the tough part there. And so I just want to take a moment. Another also thing we've been involved in most recently, DeLeon Springs. Again, an area that's very similar, almost practically identical to some of the challenges and goals that you have down here versus up in DeLeon Springs, where they had no infrastructure within 3 miles of the spring and everything. And new infrastructure helped prevent the proliferation of more conventional septic tanks and more wells close to the spring. So it's not always about promoting growth as much as it's also protecting it from growth that was going to happen regardless. And I think that, you know, how you leverage all of these types of challenges is going to be really the devil in the details. But as I said, we'll be there to work with you and work with whatever plans that you have in the future.
Thank you.
I was disappointed to hear that the sewer wasn't going to be extended, just the water line. Because, according to Roger, that the system has reached its maximum capacity, even with those grinders
Yes,
going into a force main?
we would like to have that. That will happen eventually. As a matter of fact, we've even just recently spoke with the landowners that are down in that area. And again, while it's not part of the extension at
Yeah.
this point in time, it will be part of a future phase as the city continues to plan some of its goals and objectives with regards to the development that will happen further south along Halifax. So it will occur at that time.
And I have one other question. Is the water pipe that's laying on Westbrook Circle going to be extended west?
We're well west as far as to where the wastewater treatment plant is right now, because it will be the location of the ground storage tank that we're planning that will be located on site.
The reason I asked that question, I had an angry individual wanting to know how the county had authority to put water pipe in the city's right of way.
Well, I'm not familiar with the discussion or anything. We're
Yeah.
happy to research with you on anything, but again, I think we're just planning our goals consistent with what your goals are too. So whatever works out best for everyone as far as we're concerned.
And that pipe is part of directional drill that's gonna be coming under US 1. That's the reason
Is that
that's
what's
stored
that?
on Brook Circle.
Oh, okay.
So it's not.
It's not being-
Yeah.
But they have to fuse that and stretch it out in order to pull it under the road.
Yeah, I saw it on River Road when they were
so
fusing
that's-
it.
That's what that
Okay.
is. It's not being installed
Yeah.
down Brook Circle this time.
Thank you.
Excellent. And that's why I brought him along today.
Thank you, Mike.
Yeah. We're just in design for those future plans. So we're not at that stage, but yeah, we've staged the pipe for the time being.
Okay, thank you. Kayak self-serve kiosks.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, Commissioners, the city was approached by a company called Rent Fund to see if we would be interested in having them set up a self-serve kiosk for kayak rentals. I spoke with their representative, and they have different sizes of kiosk, anywhere from 4 kayaks up to 16, I believe.
Yeah, it's in the package.
Yeah. There is a one-time upfront cost, depending on the number of kayaks you would like to have. It ranges from $19,000 to $39,000. They share the profits with the city, 50-50. They do all the maintenance. They can take care of the app that they use on your phone to actually rent the kayaks. However, there is about a 5-year break-even point. It takes at least 5 years for you to break even. It depends on how much usage you actually get from the kiosk.
Where did they have in mind to start this?
Well, they were asking us, and I thought of Jimmy Van Park down by the river. I'm not recommending that we do this right now, just because of the outlay of cash that it would require, and it's something that we hadn't planned for. And I'm not sure of the interest in having kayaks. I really don't know if there's an interest within the community for having kayak rentals. That's something that we have to determine. So I would propose that we look at it for the next fiscal year. And then at that point, we can determine if there's an interest and if that is something that you would like to pursue.
I live within 3 houses of Van Sunrise Park. The individuals that come there with their kayaks is quite frequent. During the week, on the weekends, I think what we'd end up with is we'd put that money into this, and it would be longer than 5 years to get that $19,000 back. If we were in an area where we had a lot of tourists and not the ones that want to eat, it might be a good thing. I just don't think it's a good idea at this time. It might down the road, but that's just my 2 cents.
The people that come to the park bring their own kayak.
Yes.
I think Jimmy Van Park is way too small to do this. I'm not keen on paying a company to come in there and make money.
Well, there's only that one place where you can
water,
put kayaks.
But I do think this is something that the waterfront committee that we're talking about and the 70 acres that we're possibly doing,
down the road,
this could be something that could be thought about and worked in and done with that the 70 acres worth of property, and that it could fit into that. But I don't think this is a good idea for now. And Jimmy Van Park is not a good place.
Certainly bring it up again.
Yeah.
Next
My
year.
2 cents.
There's no parking.
What's that?
There's no parking.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, that if there's 16, there's 4 or 8 kayaks in there, they're gonna fill up all that spot, so anybody else that wanted to come enjoy the park and do things in their camp. So, yeah, it's just too small for that.
Do they know how much it costs to rent a kayak from this organization?
I didn't see any paperwork on that, on what they charge. Did you?
That is, I asked them about that too. It's determined between the city and that company, how much you would like to charge for the rentals.
So that would be how long then your payback period.
Yeah.
So depending on the price of the rental and the number of rentals that you get.
Well, they covered themselves there, didn't they?
Any other questions? Yes, sir.
Neil Bonds, 295 Indian Creek Road. It looks like y'all are already going in an intelligent direction, in my opinion. One other thing to think about is if we enter into an agreement with a private company to operate kayaks, who's liable when somebody slips, falls, hurt themselves on city property with these kayaks that the city has made an agreement with to be profitable? And if that's the case, then who's liable when this person gets hurt, gets stung by a stingray, slips, falls on a rock? But if y'all really want to invest into a company and just, give somebody, I rent kayaks, so tell me where to fill out the paperwork.
Well, Mr. Bond, at your park, do you rent kayaks?
Absolutely. But I take all the liability.
Well, yes, but here's the thing.
Yeah.
If we went into that business, we're taking
We'd be in
business away from
competition,
you.
yeah.
That's my feeling.
That's correct.
Yeah.
But I don't ever think it's a good idea for the city to enter into a
From a liability standpoint, it's not.
standpoint. But you have liability issues, and then you will get upset citizens and say, why aren't you putting money into my kayak rental business? Why are you paying that?
Thank you.
Thank you.
You'll give us a bargain, huh?
Mr. Mayor, there's one thing I'd like to bring up.
Yes, go ahead.
This is in regards to the road signs that got run over recently. The father of the individual who did this deed actually came to City Hall to see me. He's asking two things. He's asking if he and his son could reimburse the city for the damage that was caused. Secondly, he was asking if there's any way the city could show some leniency by, writing a letter to the judge to ask for leniency. His son is 17 years old, pretty much just starting life. He doesn't want him to have this over him, pretty much causing any problems in trying to get a job or, anywhere like that. So he was asking those two things, whether he could reimburse the city and if the city could write a letter just to ask for leniency on his behalf.
Are they here?
So I'm bringing it to the council, to the commission for you to discuss and decide what you would like to do with these two requests.
Are they here?
No, they did not come.
They did not show up.
I looked through this and before, I was thinking about that before I saw the young man's letter to us, right? And, part of this is, he's got to learn that choices have consequences, right? But I'm all for learning without, being punishment if he's going to learn. So my recommendation is he pays for the signs, He pays for the labor cost of our grounds people that put them back in, and then he does 50 hours. And that's my recommendation, 50 hours of community service, right? It can be 5 hours every Saturday for some period of time, or.
Are you making a motion?
I'm throwing that out as a discussion, but yeah, that's my motion, okay?
Okay, I think it sounds good.
Motion and a second. Let's
That
have a
was-
discussion.
I was wondering, was there alcohol or drugs involved? I don't really know much about it other than signs got run over.
I have video, all right? He knew what he was
Commissioner, I
doing.
was going to ask what he was charged with. Was he charged with a felony or was he charged with a misdemeanor?
He was charged with a felony.
Whoa,
That's what it said in the letter.
yeah. but-
He knew what he was doing. It was not like he was, he just didn't go full bore in that. He pulled up to the signs, put his bumper up against it, and then mashed the gas and pushed them over.
But it's not like
12
he did just one sign,
12
he did a
times.
bunch of
Yes,
signs.
he did repeatedly.
So, he-
all right?
he knew what he was
and-
doing.
And, I don't know that he was intoxicated, but that showed some reasoning, right? That he was thinking when he did it. It wasn't just, push the gas and, 35 miles an hour, run over all the signs in there. It was deliberate, all right? And
Had to be to
it
go
was
up and down the
deliberate
road.
Enough that he was trying to minimize damage to his vehicle or his dad's vehicle, whichever that is.
Does he have priors?
I don't believe so.
No?
That was the other part of that. It was, yeah.
One of the question that immediately jumps into my old head is parental guidance.
Well, that
What was
the-
this kid doing out at 2:17 in the morning with dad's vehicle?
That was one of the other things that I would like to see. I don't want to make it a part of this, but
No.
I'd like Dad to make a contract with the boy, right? That there's not going to be here's a curfew, right? And he's going to abide by it.
We need to have a little bit more information on this, don't we?
Well, it was 2:16 in the
Did
morning.
the dad know that the kid was out, or did he sneak out, or what?
He had his
I don't know.
dad's truck.
You had a conversation with the dad. Did he mention?
He did not mention.
I hate to blow up a kid's, I saw in the letter that he said that he was gonna join a union for anybody that wants to work now that's young, I'm all for that. I don't wanna do anything to hinder that.
Yep.
I want him to
Well,
learn a
you
lesson,
know-
but I don't want to destroy his future life.
Right, I don't want his future to be destroyed, but he needs to be punished.
Yes, absolutely.
Do you know that if he does community service, do we have to have an insurance rider for that, or?
That was a question I was I don't think we can have him come into the city and work with streets and roads.
I don't believe so. That's something I have to clarify with the attorney, but I don't believe that's.
We'll put him in a ditch, he won't be on the street or the road, we'll put him in a ditch.
Canal. Huh?
Yeah, that north side of the canal's blocked up. It's not raining.
Well, there's no pipe.
And there was a pipe under the road.
No, there's not.
No, there's not.
What's that patch going across there? then?
No, speaking from the back, even if you are an employee, you follow the same rules as everybody else.
I thought they dug the street up and put a pipe in there.
No. The pipe they put in there was the sewer pipe.
I thought there was a flow of water through
Charlie said there used to be a
there. There
conduit
used to be
under
a
the street.
culvert underneath there. Yeah, it used to be.
I don't think it's there, according to
Somebody's
the
filled it in
information
there.
that
There
we've
used
been
to be
given.
one.
So the water isn't flowing.
I don't know if we have enough information yet to decide on this, but if I was gonna make a decision tonight, I would lean toward what Steve said.
That's my feeling, but I don't like interfering with the court process. That judge could reduce the charge when the kid says, yes, I did it.
Well, to me, that's the approach that the dad or their lawyer should take, is that the city has said, these conditions, right, and 50 hours or whatever we agreed upon in my motion here of community
Yeah.
service so he's making retribution. He's having consequences for a very poor set of choices. So I think the judge would take that into account.
Yeah, I think they should.
City Clerk, have you got Commissioner McGee's motion
I do.
and the terms?
Yes, I do.
Any further discussion? Call for the vote?
Commissioner Hyatt,
Yes.
Commissioner Catagano,
Yes.
Commissioner McGee,
Yes.
Mayor Gibson.
Yes. Hopefully this boy learns his lesson and Daddy keeps closer tabs on him.
Yeah.
Daddy needs to know where his truck is at all times.
Yeah.
But parents have a real problem. My youngest daughter used to sneak out at night, and I sleep like a log, so I never know she went outside. So
But
it's
there
really.
were consequences when you found out about it.
Well, yeah, I planted a yucca tree right underneath her window. She didn't do that. Okay.
Okay.
Boards and committees, economic development, you are up,
Thank you,
sir.
Mr. Mayor, Commissioners, City Manager. First, I'd like to thank you for clarifying the pipes on Westport Circle. I had exactly the same question. Save me the trouble. I got an invitation from Georgia Carter from West Volusia Ad Authority to go to the Florida Scenic Highways Program, Mount Dora, on March 7th. I'm double booked or triple booked or something. Anybody want to go? It's a day. Do we have any citizens who want to go? That's the quizzical expression on your face. I'll talk to you after the meeting. Okay. All right. Data point. The Q breakfast last week at the airport, quarterly economic development. Laura DiBello, who's now in the Florida Department of Commerce, who has roots in Volusia County, gave an interesting data point. The economy of the state of Florida is bigger than the economy of Mexico, just in case you're interested. Money. There's a $91,000 brownfield grant floating around for Edgewater, New Smyrna Beach, and Oak Hill. Nobody really knows what to do with it because nobody really has any brownfields. So Samantha Bergeron at Edgewater is talking to her consultant to see if we can repurpose any of that money. So stay tuned. We might be able to use it for something else. It's been awarded. As Deb Denny said, there's an awful lot of money sloshing around up for grabs. I know the Ormond Beach grants manager. I've known her for 25 years. She gets about $55,000 a year and brings in about $5 million a year like clockwork for the city of Ormond Beach. I wonder if it would be a good idea for the city of Oak Hill to consider hiring a full-time or almost full-time grants manager to do the same thing. It's not going to be me, but I think we should consider that because what is that, 100-to-1 return on investment? And this is why Ormond Beach has pretty parks and landscaping along US 1 and basically everybody's shoveling money at them. And I think we should get our wheelbarrow and try to take some of it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any other citizens that have comments?
Yes. Call me on the top. Did you forget?
I didn't put you to sleep, did I?
Tommy Armitage, Armitage Plumbing and Gas, 1502 Industrial Drive, Edgewater, Florida. First, I want to tell you guys, with this well testing, when they were putting that up on the board there, a couple weeks back, and they said this is the only place that's done it in Florida, and I got to commend you how you brought that about. To me, I'm looking at the state of Florida, and they threw a dart, and it just happened to hit Oak Hill. I just can't believe you guys got that right here, this far away from everybody and everything. The other thing I wanted to suggest is if the city can put in their and their nomenclature. Ask for a license for these people coming by, trying to, hey, we're going to do your sewer, we're going to transition it, we're going to try to sell you on your septic to sewer. Ask for a license. Find out what company they're on. If they have a shirt or if they have any, the state law says if they hand out any kind of advertisement at all, it will have the company name, the company license, or the company license number, and be accompanied by the phone number. Same way with their trucks. If they have a truck out there, they have to have it. That's a state law. And we don't see a whole lot of that in this. There's just there's a lot of junk going on over there on the septic and sewer, and we're gathering it, we're hearing it. And it's like, well, tomorrow I should have 6 permits for these septic sewers, and the doggone COVID hit the health department, so the health department was real slow, had to go all the way to Orange City. So, we're trying to help this transition along, get people happy and get everybody back into place. But if you could put something on the city's website and everything else, ask for a license. Get a license, hey, ask for something other than, hey, let me measure that, we'll tell you how much we'll do it for. They're getting carried away over there. I'm getting phone calls saying, hey, we're getting harassed. And, I've called, there's really nothing I, as a plumbing contractor, can do. If these people don't call the cops, then, they're in fear of. And they shouldn't have to live like that. They shouldn't have to live like that. We called the non-emergency line, and they said, well, we'll start making more trips over there. But if you guys could put something out there and say, hey, protect yourselves. Look for a license number, a phone number, a card, a business card, something. And also, Mayor, from what I'm hearing, I'm only hearing this, that they are going to let some of the septic tanks go to a cistern system. But there's a process in order to turn it to a cistern, the one that you asked me about before. I don't know that process. I don't know how to go about that. I asked the health department when I was up there today, and I even got one of the inspectors to come out and talk to me, and they said, we'll sign off your permits tomorrow, or if not tomorrow, then you have them by Wednesday. And I said, well, listen, do you have something about the cistern? What is the process if they decide they want to turn this into a cistern? They couldn't give me any answer. They said,
Mr. Adams posted, all right, that information of what that process is on the city website. There's a lengthy process about who to go see, what you got to do, and the steps you got to follow in order to do that. And he posted that a month ago. Yeah.
I thought a month ago it wasn't allowed. They were saying that's what I heard from the health department. They said absolutely not. Now I'm hearing that changed, and they're saying, yeah.
Yeah, the state law says yes.
It's posted.
It can be done.
It's on. That procedure is posted on our website.
I reached out to them, and they actually gave me the instructions.
Not at my house.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Anyone else? City clerk? Nobody else?
I do have another committee report. Mr. Brandon King from Waterfront. Do you want to address the commission?
Waterfront, okay.
So Jerome asked me to talk to you guys about our committee. We've been kind of inactive for a while, the Environmental Natural Resources Advisory Committee. After last administrator left, things kind of fell off a little bit, and I had to take a lot of trips down south to Vero Beach, take care of my grandmother pretty much on a weekly basis. And so I'd like to try to restart all this, and things just kind of happened tonight with Ms. Denny's here, and a lot of the discussions tonight were on things that things we wanted to address anyways, like this, the lot down at the end of Halifax. And these are all things that I've talked about before, about turning that into a park, having Burns Tech involved with conservation, that the development that's going on in the back end of that lot, that only increases the value of their property. So maybe they want to donate some funds into developing that and adding that connectivity, which adds value to some of the grants. So what I'd like to do is just get your permission to continue what we were trying to do to rebuild the committee back up. We've lost some members. I'd like to ask the city for some new folks and get this started again.
Go for it.
I think it's a good idea.
We probably have to advertise for members because there's at least one person that won't be able to continue. So that leaves a committee of 4. Well, if the other 2 eventually respond saying that they're able to continue. Otherwise, we'll have to, if you want to have a committee of at least 5, we'd have to go out and advertise for.
No, I think that's.
Yeah, I would love to have some folks
There's
from.
potentially a lot of work involved in
Yes,
I mean, there's a lot of potential there to do all kinds of things. Putting that on a couple of people's shoulders and all that's tough.
I'd love to have some representatives from the west side of the city too.
Sure.
Yeah.
We can reach out and see who is available.
Yes.
Sure.
That's,
Okay.
Yeah, and just come back to us.
I'm sorry?
Just come back to us with however
ma'am.
many people you have.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Public Works, Nancy Cummings Park.
Do you want me to address that, Jerome, or are you going to?
Thank you, sir.
Mark Bell, Public Works Supervisor. It says on their tables, but that's the least of our problems. Nancy Cummings Park, as a lot of people know, the big playground is probably 25 plus years old. Since I've started here, I've had to patch a couple of holes in the steps going up to the slide area. And we did that with a street sign because of all the park companies out there, no one manufactures the parts or the steps to replace any of those platforms anymore. They've all moved on to different things. Since then, it is deteriorating rapidly. The reason there was holes in it is because it's rubberized on the top and the bottom. The metal, the rubber's cracking, the metal gets wet, it starts to rust. It's essentially like a bear trap for a kid's foot. The holes in there range anywhere from this big to this big, and all the metal is jagged and facing down. We had some help, I guess you could call it, with someone stomping or pounding something into some of the soft spots that were up there and made about 4 or 5 more holes. So we had to go in and cut all the metal out from underneath it, put more street signs on it. Long story short, it is very rusty. It is very band-aided together. And I've spoke to Jerome about it, and my suggestion, since we don't have it budgeted or we don't have the funds to replace that piece of playground equipment, that we either need to tear that playground down and leave the rest of the park open, or we're gonna have to shut down the rest of the park because the liability of an injury is too great to take on.
Take that part down. Is my suggestion. Get rid of the liability.
Yeah, and I don't want to shut down the whole park.
And on top of that, go out for bids.
We have bids for new playgrounds. They are actually, it already went to the Parks Board. One was approved, the whole 9 yards. That was, I believe, possibly when Con was still here.
July 10th.
July.
It was July. Okay.
We approved $59,999 for brand new park equipment.
Yes. And hopefully if we remove the one that's there, maybe that'll lessen the cost a little bit if we take it down ourselves. I'm not sure, because that was for complete removal and replacement on their part.
Didn't anybody order that equipment after we approved the funds for it?
The mayor had stated that we would go out for a grant.
Yeah, I don't think the funds were approved for it.
Yeah, we did.
It may have been. I don't remember. Without seeing it in front of me, but I know that we priced
July
it.
10th meeting.
Was it that?
Yeah, there's no minutes up on for that meeting, but the video's available.
Okay. Like I said,
the agenda pack's available.
I didn't know if the funds were.
Yeah, it even says in there that
Granted
the Parks and Recreation people had actually approved it in 3 bids and submitted the one for the $59,000 to us was the one that they liked the best. So yeah, we already approved that.
Okay.
Just not sure where it went.
I don't know either. I just know that the one that's there it's a hazard.
That was over my $5,000 limit. So I couldn't just spend the money out of the general fund. But let's move forward. Let's see if we can't find the money for that and get the thing ordered. In the meantime,
Shut her
the
down.
hazard needs to go.
I mean,
I can't speak for everybody here, but that's my opinion.
Yeah, we don't need that.
We can't take any
Anything there
chance,
that's
right?
gonna hurt somebody.
No, we've patched all the holes that were in the steps, but I shared some pictures with Jerome. There's other areas there's probably 5 or 6 other areas that aren't far behind that.
We don't need an accident waiting to happen.
No, the last thing I want to see is a kid get up there and fall into a rusty hole like that and get hurt. I mean, that's liability aside, that would be horrific.
I went over there Saturday and looked at it, and I gotta say the bathrooms look great.
Yeah, the bathrooms
was
look
working.
good. No, the time locks are not working.
They're not?
The bathrooms are still getting vandalized.
It,
yes. Not
it opened
those
when
ones,
I was...
the ones that Mary Dewey's did.
Okay.
They ripped off one of the soap dispensers off the wall. I don't know where it went. They broke another one. They shoved a roll of toilet paper in the toilet and then kept hitting the handle and flooded the bathroom out. Then they took another roll of toilet paper and got it all wet and slung it all over the bathroom. And then they took human feces and rubbed it all over the toilet bowl scrub brush in the wall.
Yikes.
So the time locks, that people will do it during the day. It took 2 hours to try to clean the bathroom over there. So it's
Cameras?
we have to have Wi-Fi at the parks in order for cameras to work, because otherwise the equipment gets stored inside a storage cabinet that's not climate controlled, and they might last a month.
And then you're gonna have people complaining about cameras in the bathroom.
No, there was cameras there. They were on the exterior of the
Who's
building.
accessing it?
You can't put cameras in the bathroom.
So that is fortunately the first, big act of vandalism, so to speak, that I've seen. It's not what used to happen where they were taking the tops of the toilets and smashing the urinals and everything else, but it was definitely a mess. So just to say that because the bathrooms lock at night, it doesn't mean it doesn't happen during the day.
It happen on the weekend or?
No, it happened on a weekday, during the day. Even with the guys working at the ball field and everything there.
Mm-hmm.
It was during the day while there was workers at the ball field. We came in the next morning doing our rounds, and the bathroom was
People driving up and down there all the time too.
kids playing in the park, but when you close the bathroom door, nobody can see you, unfortunately. But
Wow.
Thank you, Mr. Bell. And we can move forward trying to eliminate the issue with the safety issue and obtain those bids aren't going to be any good, I don't think.
I'll reach out and have the bids refreshed.
Yes. But let's move forward as quickly as possible.
And just an appeal to everyone out there, do your part to take care of what we have for our own use in the city. Nobody should have to be cleaning up anything like that. That's just not right.
Exactly.
No, it's not right.
And doing stuff to ruin equipment and the playgrounds and everything else. When it's there for your own use. you're
Right,
doing nothing
but it
hurting
obviously it's deliberate,
They're just hurting themselves.
Well, one of the problems, there is a homeless camp north of Lagoon Mist. And I wonder if it's those people.
where the medical building used to be.
Yes, north of that, yes.
On the right, yeah.
Yep,
Before you get
behind
to the fire department.
Behind the fire department, yep.
Charlie stopped in there today and spoke to the policeman that was sitting in the driveway to that place.
Uh-huh.
And, because he had called me and said, did you know that there's people camping on that, where the old medical building used to be?
Yeah, right.
And the police's response to him was that the property owner said that that was okay. Did I get that right, Charlie?
Correct.
Okay.
No. That piece of property belongs to the Burt Fish Foundation.
Burt Fish Foundation.
And they're not giving homeless people
Yeah, that's,
the right to pet camp.
so we're not sure what the policeman was talking about.
Well.
He needs to be informed.
Yeah.
Call the sheriff's department to point that out.
Mr. Adams, I would suggest you call the lieutenant or the captain and query about that.
Okay. Moving on, comments and concerns from commissioners. I'm going to start. I think we need to go and give direction to Mr. Adams to go out for bids for Nancy Cummings Park ditch repair. Mr. Adams informed me that he's learned that the ARP funds can be used for that repair. I noticed we got an email from FEMA saying that their grant cycle has opened up, and if we've got a bid, we might be able to get them to pay for it. One of the questions I had was, do we need engineering? And I don't know if we do or not for that process. Echo Grant, Mary DeWeese baseball field, email from Brad Burbaugh. This is dated February the 14th to Mr. Jerome Adams. Apologize for the delay, but wanted to watch the meeting in order to understand the context of your question. The Echo Grant for Mary DeWeese improvements is in compliance with Echo requirements, and we look forward to completing the project. There are currently no issues or concerns with the Echo Grant as far as the county staff is concerned.
Good.
This past week has not been a good week. Got notification of another lawsuit against the Garden Street development and our passing of the preliminary development plan. The petitioners on this are Mark Drawlinger, Bonnie Lindsay, Dana Greatrix, John Crawford, Diana Belcherfield, John Kelstad Jr., Carrie Waring. The attorney of record is Tanner Anderson. We still got the ethics that Bonnie Lindsay brought. I don't know where that one's at. That's been a long time. In my closing comments, when we're in this house, our chamber, everybody needs to be respectful. Nobody in here, including any of the commissioners, calls another individual in here a liar. They also don't use foul language. This, to me, is where we treat everybody the way we would want to be treated. Without a doubt. This is not the place for it. And if there was anything in the charter that allowed me to throw that person out, I would. So, since we're being televised now, I think it's a good time to be wary about how we treat each other. Because we've got people out there now at home watching us. Okay, Mr. Hyatt, you're up.
Friends of the Library have their winter concert on March the 10th at 3 o'clock with Still Cooking. That's the group. They're good. That's it.
Commissioner Catagano.
Nothing for me.
Did you look into what I asked you about this morning?
I don't remember what you asked me.
He forgot you asked.
I've had a number of people come to me and make a recommendation that if you haven't been by the ball field over there at Mary Dewey's, it is looking really good, right? And it's going to be open next week.
No, actually.
Oh, no, but they're playing over
Yeah.
Nancy Cummings is
We'll
a
have the
practice. And
evaluations at Nancy Cummings, and then April 6th will be our opening day.
April 6th, okay. But there has been a lot of work. It looks great. I think our kids are going to have a wonderful time playing over there. Going to pursue doing something very similar to over at Nancy Cummings, but I would like to ask Mr. Adams, with the rest of y'all's blessing, that we name that field Anderson Field. After all the work that Aaron and Don have done to make that field what it is.
The Andersons actually saw that post, and Dawn and I talked about it, and we said that's usually what you do for somebody who dies.
We're not done getting goody out of it.
It's not about us, it's about the community, and so.
I just think what
I think
you
we
guys
feel
have done to bring playing and sports to our kids and our neighborhood and our community should be recognized. So that's my 2 cents.
I noticed you said that. I did reach out to our attorney to find out if there are any issues with doing that. I do have to do some research just to make sure there are no restrictions or anything that would prevent us from naming it that way. But I'll do my research and I'll come back to you.
Okay.
If we can, I think
With
that's
that said,
good.
Mr. McGee, I'm sorry. If everybody wants to go play on the field, you want me to come? I just want everybody to stay off of it for right now, that's all. Stay off of it for right now. Please.
Keep the gate locked.
There's not a gate on it yet to lock. So
Oh.
They made them gone. But I just
Speaking
want
of
everybody to stay off.
speaking of the ball field, my wife and I are going to donate the funds to purchase an 8 by 4 foot score for the field.
That's nice.
And I checked with the city attorney. He said and suggested that I donate the funds specifically in a letter to the city buy the sign, because that way the city has the warranty. So that's what my wife
Very good.
and I are going to do.
Good.
Wow, beautiful.
That's nice, nice.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Are we gonna have a dedication of the ballpark?
I think we should have a dedication,
Yes.
because
Yeah.
I've got something in mind with what Steve said.
Okay,
Absolutely.
well, let's set a date.
Whenever when's the opening?
April
for it?
6th.
April the 6th?
April the 6th, and you guys are always invited.
Do you want the dedication on that day too?
Or
Ask Don.
or do it before?
Do it that day.
Do it that day.
Do it that day.
April the 6th.
Yes, ma'am.
What time do you start?
9 a.m.
9? Good time.
Commissioners have anything else?
No, sir.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll do that.
Second.
Got a motion, got a second? Meeting's adjourned. Everybody be careful going home, please.
Oh, yeah.